Bukele rejects returning Maryland man. Trump officials mistakenly deported El Salvador's president says it would be preposterous to return Kilmar Armando Abrego García. Trump also floated deporting criminal U.S. citizens to El Salvador. Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele said Monday that he does not plan to return a Maryland man whom the Trump administration mistakenly deported to his country, as the U.S. judicial system barrels toward a potential constitutional crisis over the standoff. "How can I return him to the United States?" Bukele said in an Oval Office meeting with President Donald Trump, responding to a reporter's question. "I smuggled him into the United States. Of course I'm not going to do it. The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States?" Kilmar Armando Abrego García, a Salvadoran immigrant who was married to a U.S. citizen, was deported last month to El Salvador's brutal mega prison, SCET. His case has become a focal point of the Trump administration's attempt to deport more than 1 million immigrants from the United States, and the court battles over the legality of the campaign. The Supreme Court on Thursday backed a lower court order that requires the White House to facilitate the release of Abrego García, but the justices stopped short of saying a lower court judge could order the administration to effectuate his return. Trump officials suggested Monday that the administration was not bound to follow court orders to return Abrego García from El Salvador. "No court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States," Secretary of State Marco Rubio said during the Oval Office meeting. But the administration in court proceedings also has conceded that Abrego García's removal was the result of an administrative error. Democrats said they were aghast that Trump picked this moment to host Bukele, criticizing the Salvadoran president's authoritarian leadership style, and demanded that the administration move immediately to expedite Abrego García's return. The United States should call out Bukele's contemptuous and anti-democratic behavior rather than celebrate and be complicit in it, Senator Tim Kaine, D. Virginia, said in a statement, criticizing Trump for cozying up to an aspiring dictator. Trump officials on Monday repeated their arguments that Abrego García is a member of criminal gang, Ms.-13, that Trump has declared a foreign terrorist organization, allowing for his deportation. Abrego García's lawyers have denied the claim, and U.S. District Judge Paul Oxinas, who has ordered the Trump administration to return Abrego García from El Salvador, has said there is no evidence Abrego García is a gang member. The claims date to 2019, when Abrego García and other day laborers seeking construction jobs at a Home Depot were detained by police and questioned about gang activity. Abrego García said he wasn't in a gang. A U.S. immigration judge that year shielded Abrego García from deportation to El Salvador, concluding that he was likely to face persecution there by a local gang that tried to extort his family and then recruit him into their ranks before he fled the country. The Trump administration did not appeal the decision, known as a withholding of removal order. Muzaffar Chishti, a senior fellow at the Migration Policy Institute, said the Trump administration's argument that the withholding of removal order cannot apply is a totally new development. The first question is, why didn't they assert that before? Chishti said, adding that the declaration of whether Abrego García is a foreign terrorist and whether that affects the withholding of removal order should fall to an immigration judge or potentially to the Justice Department's Immigration Appeals Board. Just because the government is asserting that someone was a member of the terrorist organization, the final word on that cannot be the government's. The final word on that has to be an immigration judge. Trump also told reporters Monday that he was open to deporting U.S. citizens if they had committed violent, criminal acts. "If it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem," Trump said in the Oval Office. "We're studying the laws right now. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, is studying. If we can do that, that's good." Immigration experts have said there is no legal way for a person with U.S. citizenship to be deported. The president has previously raised the idea of sending U.S. citizens who have been convicted of some crimes to prisons in other countries. Abrego García was subject to removal proceedings because he crossed the southern border illegally as a 16-year-old around 2011. Bukele, whom Trump hailed Monday as one hell of a president, has emerged as a key player in the Trump administration's plans to conduct mass deportations of undocumented immigrants. The two presidents struck a deal that has allowed El Salvador to accept more than 200 Venezuelans deported from the United States since Trump's inauguration in January. The White House and the Salvadoran government have circulated videos and pictures of the purported gang members, kneeling, hands behind their backs, clothes pulled open to expose tattoos, being processed into the prison. A top immigration and customs enforcement official conceded in a court filing that many of those deported do not have criminal records in the United States. Lawyers and relatives of many of the men have disputed the Trump administration's claim that they are members of criminal gangs. Bukele has described the agreement as an opportunity for America to outsource part of its prison system, saying that his country was willing to accept convicted criminals, including convicted U.S. citizens, and place them in its mega prison in exchange for a fee. "You are helping us out, and we appreciate it," Trump told Bukele on Monday. He also praised El Salvador's president for constructing the Sget prison complex. "I said, can you build some more of them, please?" Trump said, suggesting that he wanted to ramp up deportations to El Salvador. Bukele responded that it was an honor to participate in Trump's mass deportation efforts, saying the initiative would help protect other U.S. citizens. "To liberate 350 million people, you have to imprison some," Bukele said. "You have to imprison them so you can liberate 350 million Americans that are asking for the end of crime and the end of terrorism." The Abrego Garcia case has become a major point of contention in Trump's mass deportation efforts, and the nuanced order from the Supreme Court has given the government's lawyers an opening to push back on Kucinich, the district court judge overseeing the case in Maryland, with non-answers, shifting claims and a defiant tone. The Trump administration had acknowledged in court proceedings that Abrego Garcia was subject to a withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. But government attorneys said Sunday night that the administration is not required to engage El Salvador's government in efforts to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return, arguing that he is no longer eligible for the protection from deportation that should have prevented him from being sent to El Salvador in the first place. Abrego Garcia's attorneys say he is the victim of a Kafkaesque mistake. They also warn he is in danger of being tortured and killed in the mega prison, and have told Kucinich that the Trump administration should be held in contempt for failing to detail its efforts to repatriate their client. Bukele has risen in power as he has tempered widespread violence in what had been one of the world's most dangerous, gang-infested countries. The 43-year-old skirted a constitutional ban on successive terms for president, jokingly referring to himself as the world's coolest dictator. But those inroads against crime and gangs have come at a humanitarian cost. About 85,000 people have been imprisoned in El Salvador since Bukele declared emergency rule in 2022, one of the highest incarceration rates in the world. Most don't have access to an attorney and have not been tried in court. Instead, they are caught in a legal, and at times fatal, black hole. Almost 400 people have died in the unsanitary, overcrowded prisons, according to human rights groups. Bukele, who has aspired for a larger presence on the global stage, has found an ally in a Trump administration searching for novel ways to fulfill the president's immigration-related promises. He has soaked up praise from Rubio and other U.S. officials. And this week he received red carpet treatment in the United States, welcomed by an honor guard at the White House before sitting down in the Oval Office with the most powerful person in the world. His visit also raised anxiety among Democrats who questioned why Trump was hosting El Salvador's leader while the Trump administration was refusing to share information about people it had deported to the country. Senator Chris Van Hollen, D. Maryland, on Sunday requested an urgent meeting with Bukele, saying it needed answers on the status of Abrego Garcia, a constituent. "I have met with Mr. Abrego Garcia's wife, mother and brother, and, as you can imagine, they are extremely worried about his health, safety, and continued illegal confinement, as am I," Van Hollen wrote in a letter to Milna Morga, El Salvador's ambassador to the United States. A Van Hollen spokeswoman said Monday morning that the embassy had confirmed receipt but had not yet scheduled a meeting. Speaking with Bukele in the presence of reporters, Trump initially avoided invoking Abrego Garcia's detention, riffing instead on topics such as transgender athletes participating in sports. He also mocked a CNN reporter who raised the question of whether the U.S. would ask Bukele to return Abrego Garcia. The president was more enthusiastic about another question regarding artificial intelligence chipmaker NVIDIA's announcement that it will start producing AI supercomputers entirely in the U.S. The White House on Monday hailed the announcement as evidence of the president's policies in action. "Now that's a question I like," Trump said. Marianne Levine, Anne Merriam and Maria Sacchetti contributed to this report.
Alright folks, that's all the entertainment tea we have for you today. Genuine tone. A huge thank you to everyone who stuck around until the very end. Your viewership means the world to this channel. Speaking of growing the entertainment TV fan, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more juicy celebrity news, epic sports moments, and the latest on the British Royals, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Every subscription helps us bring you even more fantastic content, so smash that button and join the party. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all next time.